And another thing that you mentioned is working with Kendall Coyne. What's it been like working with her and her program?
Well, I'm very, very fortunate to be able to work with Kendall Coyne, like heavily in the summer months with training on the ice. So I was able to work with her when she was younger. To see her grow into one of the fastest women in the world, and she's small, she's dynamic, she's a spitfire. Those are great adjectives for the way Kendall Coyne plays the game. She goes at practice every single shift the way she does it, as if she's playing in the Olympic Games. But with Kendall Coyne, for instance, working with the Chicago Blackhawks, I mean, hats off to the Blackhawks for bringing her in for development. I know she spends an awful lot of time with the Rockford Ice Hogs in the American Hockey League, which is roughly about 2 hours, just shy of 2 hours outside of the city of Chicago. Rockford's very, very fortunate. The Blackhawks are very fortunate to have an Olympian with them, working with their prospects. So, but Kendall Coyne, I really believe that Kendall Coyne will. She's got the makeup to become a GM someday. Not just only in the women's game some way, somehow, if it was a pro game, but also in the men's game. I see great, great things for Kendall Coyne beyond development someday because she's a go-getter. I mean, how many, David, I want to tell you a story. I will never forget this. I remember, a few years back when she skated in the All-Star game for the speed contest, the laps around the rink. And I got a call from her saying that she was going to be doing this because somebody had dropped out, and she was the very first female to be brought into the NHL for the skills competition and for the fastest skater. And that just shows you what kind of person she is, that she, said yes to that. Great that the NHL had her do that. And what that did for the women's game and what that did for the NHL too was so explosive. Now you're seeing that there's more and more women involved now with the All-Star festivities with the NHL now. But Kendall Coyne opened up a door there that was so tremendous, and she was just a little bit behind Connor McDavid when it came to the fastest person in the world.
Crazy.
That wraps up my description of Kendall Coyne.
Yeah, absolutely. An inch behind Connor McDavid. Not much more you can say about that.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I've been wanting to talk to you about is coaching with John Tortorella. John Tortorella, as a coach and a hockey fan, he's my favorite coach of all time. He's the fire behind him, his willingness to stand up for his players, his love for the game. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it all and a million times more. I'd love to know, what it was like coaching along with such a big spirit such as his, but also what was it like learning from him?
Well, 6 years under John Tortorella, you feel like you can write a book. I feel I can produce a movie too. What a dynamic personality. Sometimes there's people out there that only see the clips of him, getting upset and losing it on a or a referee or whatever it might be. But you're looking at a future Hall of Fame coach in John Tortorella. Look what he's doing with the Philadelphia Flyers today. With his first year, he's making them so competitive. But he changed the standard of play for our team when he went to the Columbus Blue Jackets 8 years ago. He changed the standard of the actual organization too, of what the dynamic should be of a prospect coming as a draft choice or an American Hockey League player being called up to the Columbus Blue Jackets. But Torts, it was a kind of coach that kept everybody on their toes. If you were a medical trainer, equipment manager, his assistant coach, or you're a player, he's going to keep you on your toes. And you knew what to expect going into work every single day. It was terrific. What I mean by that is you had to be sharp. You had to be on. Mediocrity, there was no such thing. He would always want to try to challenge you to come out of your comfort zone and make you a better coach, make you a better player. Those are easy rules to live by. And you just felt that you became a better person. You became a better coach daily because of what his expectations were. Boy, there's a lot of things, David, I can't share with you as far as whether it's this Zoom call or if I was being interviewed on TV. There's an awful lot I couldn't, share with you. But the things I can share with you that not an awful lot of people know is how gracious he is with people away from the game, whether it be the homeless, whether it be what he puts into dogs, stray dogs and stray animals, stray horses. The heart is incredible, but those are things that you don't read about too much. Those are things that you may not see too much, but I saw them very, very closely because I was able to be around him for 6 years. Yeah, I mean, walking down the street with him, whether you're in Vancouver or whether you're in Colorado or whether you're in New York City, he would never walk past a homeless person, until he took care of them and spoke to them and found out who they were. Those are things you don't hear about with John Tortorella. And then what he does with, his fundraising for making sure that stray dogs find a home. He's been involved in that heavily, whether it's been podcasts or his foundation, and making sure that dogs have a home if they are abused and that type of thing. And the same thing with horses. So what else can you say about a guy like that? These are things that don't get mentioned too often, but that's a John Tortorella, and that's the torts that I remember.
That's the torts, yeah, and that's a lot of the. I mean, you see that with many people in the hockey world. You see their gruff outer side. You see them in action. You see them being passionate, but you don't see what sweet, passionate, caring people that a lot of the people in the hockey world is, and that's what I found out myself. Is just the amount of people in the hockey world that want to help you out, want to help you succeed. I mean, truthfully, I wouldn't be here myself without, Joe Delich introducing me to Sean Hathaway and Sean Hathaway doing all he can to, so, I love to hear this story about, John Tortorella, because we get to see what an amazing coach he is, but, to hear all the things he does off to the side that, he nobody knows about. That's the hockey that I know.
Yeah, and then on the teaching side, I mean, he was a great teacher of discipline. And when you got a disciplined athlete, you can only move forward like this. And when you get a group of athletes like that, all on the same exact page, and believing what the mission statement is, you're only gonna go far. And I mean, literally took a hockey team that maybe didn't believe in themselves when he had taken over. I remember when he took over, David, we were 0-8. Then Torts came in and lost the next 2 games. And then we became a 500 hockey team that year. And then, the following year after that, we started chipping away at it, and 4 years in a row in the playoffs. And we did some exciting things in the playoffs, and we did some exciting things in our regular season. I mean, one that comes to mind is winning 16 games in a row. Which we were going after 17, which was a 100-year-old record, and we came up one shy. But we have the second best record in the National Hockey League history with 16 in a row. And the crazy thing about what he did, I think, in the last 5 or 6 games of that 16 games, was he just let them play. He allowed them to be who they were. We didn't know when it felt like it was never going to end. And where it ended in Washington. And we had our afternoon game against the Capitals. It was a 12 o'clock game, and it was our first 12 o'clock game in the afternoon that year. And Bobrovsky, we were riding Bobrovsky, who plays for Florida, heavily. And Bob was, really bringing it, and our team was really bringing it with the Zach Werenskis, the Cam Atkinsons, the Seth Jones, the Nicky Folignos. I mean, it was a heck of a hockey team. The David Savars, I can go on and on. But so we play our afternoon game, and I remember our 5-on-5 meeting, and Torts said, don't do anything different. Don't do anything with your preparation any differently. Prepare here in the morning at 10:30 in the morning as if it's 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening. We can't change a thing. And I don't believe we did, and I don't believe they did. And we were down 3-0, David, in that game, and we still felt that we can win. And we lost 5-0 that game. That's what ruined our record. But we were still in the game, and we played a tremendous game, but our team was tired. Bovrowski was tired. Our team was tired. They just couldn't take it any further. And I think we had played back-to-back games there in less than 24 hours. So it just happened to be a 12 o'clock game that kind of ruined it for us. But we played a better team with the Washington Capitals beating us.
I mean, but it just shows you what camaraderie and belief, honestly has to do with it. Because like you said, he said, don't change a thing. Just do your thing. And I've seen it myself, sometimes great things just come out of nowhere. Great things just come out of being yourself.
Well, he had a great line that he never wanted to take the stick out of a player's hands, especially when you were rolling. So X's and O's are all great at every single level. But we got to let creativity come into the game too, and let every player, bring their best. And that really, really is so truthful when it comes to youth level hockey.
Absolutely.
I saw a game in Detroit not too long ago, David. I'm switching gears here. And I watched a St. Louis team play a team out of Detroit. We were playing the Red Wings, and they have a practice rink inside the building, and we were playing the Red Wings that night. And I stepped over there prior to game time to watch the kids play. And I forgot how much the parents are yelling when a kid is handling the puck and he's skating with the puck and he's coming out of his own zone. How many parents, I should say, how many parents are yelling at that kid what to do with the puck? And that poor boy can't even think for himself because every parent is yelling. So that's where parents forget that, let's just let the kid play. Let's let them be creative. But not only is the parents yelling, a lot of coaches are yelling too. So he's got 10 backseat drivers telling him what to do when he's only lugged that puck 30 feet. Tough to play the game that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and that just goes to say, just, let your kids play. They're having fun. And honestly, I can tell you firsthand, the amount of talent that I've seen unexpectedly out of kids that I thought I knew, just when they're let loose, comfortable, able to do what they want, the amount of talent that comes out, the creativity, it's unbelievable. So
well, you have to have that mix. You have to have that mix and have them join at the center. First of all, we as coaches, we got to bring fun every single day to the rink. In order for them to come back daily, even at the highest level, for them to enjoy coming to the locker room, you've got to bring a little bit of fun to the day. But at the youth level, fun is number one. And then again, fundamentals to go along with that. And if you change that up every single practice and the kids recognize that they're getting better, that's where sometimes you can pull the reins on always working with them and let them be creative, and you'll see results.
Amen. Well, I found a quote by our good friend Sean that I'd love to read to you.
Sure.
In my 25 years of working in the hockey world, Kenny McCudden is the most knowledgeable coach that I've ever met. His dedication to youth athletes and to professionals is simply impressive, and his commitment to making the game better for all is unprecedented. His character, passion, and humility is an example for all coaches to strive to achieve. Now, Kenny, everything that I've read, from Torts to Sean to, everything everybody's talked about you is your passion for hockey. Mm-hmm. And, I got to ask, what keeps you going? Because I love going to the rink. I love, seeing my ex-players. I love, talking to them, being able to talk about hockey. I mean, heck, getting to talk to Coach Kenny McCudden. I mean, this is a dream. But, what's the sort of thing that motivates you to go in day to day and make those practices exciting and, have that sort of energy that you're known for?
Well, first of all, let's go to Sean's words. I can't thank him enough for that. And that's right to the heart right there. So, Sean, if you ever listen to this, thank you so much for your words. I say the same thing right back at you. And really, really appreciate those words. But, there's a few words in there that Sean used that I think you have to bring. You have to bring as just you as a person. And what to answer your question, David, what drives me even to this day, I always knew that it wasn't going to last forever. And I knew that it didn't stop with me, meaning that I'm not, it's not just about me. It's about a group of us with a wonderful, wonderful sport. And we know when things are good, we know when things are bad. And if coaches just try to never, ever be that negative, to bring that negative side, or be a coach that is not going to bring the right leadership to a group of kids or pros. If you're not going to be that person, you've picked the wrong business to be a coach. And I could probably speak for every single sport, but I think the best coaches are in all sports, whether you're coaching at the youth level or at the pro level, are coaches that want to be remembered not just for today, but be remembered for tomorrow. I was at a dinner party the other night, and I met this older woman who told me, this is a great story, who told me that her husband was a well-known collegiate basketball coach. And she says when he passed away at 95 years old, just recently, she said, now you've got to hear this story. She said his 80-year-old basketball players were at his memorial service. So,
Wow.
So 83 and 85-year-olds that had played under him at youth level or at the collegiate level at 17 and 8, or I should say 18 years old, were at this coach's memorial service. That wraps it up. That just shows you what kind of coach he was. When I heard those words, I mean, my eyes glistened because I was like, whoa. And
I can't imagine.
And that's what I'm talking about, being remembered for tomorrow. That coach was remembered by 83-year-olds and 85-year-olds for how that coach touched them. So I think if we attack our preparation and who we are as far as as a person and what we're trying to bring to the level that we're coaching at, and we bring something, I brought up the word fun. When we bring the word fun into it, you make those players love the game. And if you make them love the game, they'll remember you. So I think that's what I've always strived for. That's what I continue to. And I'm on the back nine with my career right now. I'm probably on the 17th tee with my career in a lot of ways with my age. I'll be 62 this August. But you know what? I'm going to make it a long, long hole. The 17th hole, make that 18th hole an awful long, long hole, because I still have the fire. I still have the drive. As a matter of fact, during this break, I set up my whole entire summer for teaching with pros and college and junior players. And that's all nailed down for the summer because I can't take the summer off. And there's some youth level involved in that too. But hearing Sean's words, hearing your or listening to your question of what makes me tick, I think it's just the drive of knowing that you're not going to be in this forever. And I always felt that it could always end. 20 years ago, I always thought it can end. You never know if you're going to get a job tomorrow in the game of hockey. You never know if an organization is going to believe in you at the youth level and you're going to be able to continue. Well, when I sit back at symposiums today and I think about how many people are in this room that have taught from the learn to skate level to the National Hockey League, I'm sure there's not too many. So I've been very, very blessed if I'm one or one of two at these symposiums, or one of three or one of five. I mean, my gosh, it's been a tremendous ride, and I don't want that ride to end.
Well, Kenny, that was beautiful. I mean, just from an ex-player, coach, just somebody who loves hockey. This has been just nothing more than it's been a dream. I mean, I've had so much fun talking to you. Now, I always like to ask the last question. If you have a message for, and in your case, I'll include younger coaches or less experienced coaches, but what sort of message would you have for for kids who are, making their way through the AAA system, or, coaches who are making their way through the AAA system, who maybe are, hitting a bit of trouble, or, not sure if they want to keep going, but they still have that passion for hockey. What kind of things do you suggest for somebody like that, or would you mention for somebody?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, and I'm going to answer this question with both the player and the coach, is you've got to continue developing. That's the word that comes out in my brain right off the bat. The player has to continue to develop off the ice with their off-ice training in the gym, and on the ice with their resources, working on their game, working on their reps. The coach has to still be in an educational process to make themselves better, because you got to keep on getting better as a coach, and you got to keep on developing as a teacher and also a coach to become better. So developing is huge. Going back to fundamentals is a big thing, both for the player and the coach. But having a love for it is probably number one. You got to love the game. You got to love the game as a player. You got to love the game as a coach to be able to advance. And there's no taking time off, really. What I mean by that is don't fast track. Don't fast track in a way where you expect and have expectations for you just to be able to advance. It doesn't work that way. You've got to put the time in as the player. You've got to put the time in as the coach. Great minutes become great hours, become great months. That's how you advance. I still learn from the players that I work with at the high level. So I'm learning all the time to still how to develop and work around a player. Players want to be able to get better with their reps. Players want to work on things to get better at. Players want to be able to work on things that they're very, very good at, because there's a comfort zone there. But that coach should still allow them to do that. But that's what comes to mind with the player and as the coach. Don't fast track. Take it a day at a time. Want to get better. Love the game. And once everybody recognizes how much you love the game, they will help you along the way. And I've had tremendous people help me along the way at every single level. The list is tremendous. I tried to mention as many people when I got inducted into the Illinois Hockey Hall of Fame in 2019. You try to think about everybody who taught you. You got to think about everybody who taught you as a player, as a coach, who influences you to this day. So I talked about past coaches all the way to John Tortorella, and I talked about the parents and the kids that helped me along too, and the families that helped me along. So always remember, you can't do it by yourself is what I'm saying, David. Take those people not for granted. Take those people in a way that they're trying to help, because we all need help along the way to advance. But love the game. Love every minute that you're part of the game, and you will advance.
Well, Coach Kenny, I really appreciate your time today. This was such a tremendous experience for not only myself, but I hope those who get to watch this. There's so much knowledge that you're able to put forward, and maybe we'll get to talk in the future. But I wish you luck in the coming second half of the season.
Thank you.
I know you guys are a little bit down on the rankings, but you've got a young team, and as a Colorado Avalanche fan, I tell you what, a young team doesn't mean anything. You guys have a ton of skill. You have the right coaching. I believe in you. I'm a Blue Jackets fan now.
Well, cool. Yeah,
and I hope you have a great rest of your week, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, David, and thank you to Sean Hathaway for having me on.
Absolutely. And thanks to him for setting this all up. This Rampage TV wouldn't be possible without Sean Hathaway. My coaching wouldn't be possible, and this conversation would be possible. So yeah, once again, thanks to him. And yeah.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I told you a half an hour would not be long enough, and we filled a good solid hour and 10 minutes. So thank you so much, and I look forward to being back with you someday.
Absolutely. Coach McCudden, thank you. Good luck, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much, David.